The council is called to order. The time is 6 p.m. Before we begin, I kindly ask all council members to silence and put away cell phones. If you need to conduct personal business during the meeting, please make a motion to recess. For those participating by phone, please keep your device muted unless speaking. When speaking, please remember to state your name for the benefit of those viewing the live stream. As a reminder, this meeting is being broadcast live. The camera is located above the clock at the back of the council chambers. Our proceedings follow Robert's Rules of Order in accordance with Wasilla Municipal Code 2.04.090. To promote an orderly and respectful meeting, I respectfully ask the council to observe the following rules. Please seek recognition before speaking. No member may speak more than twice on the same motion without a vote to suspend the rules. No member may speak a second time until all who wish to speak have done so. These guidelines help ensure fairness, efficiency, and mutual respect in our discussions. Madam Clerk, please call the roll.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Councilmember Cottle.
Here.
Councilmember Graham.
Here.
Councilmember Schmidt. Councilmember Crafton.
Here.
Councilmember Velock.
Here.
Councilmember Rubio.
Here.
You do have a quorum, Madam Mayor. All council members are present with us in chambers except for Councilmember Schmidt, who is participating telephonically.
Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Councilmember Graham, would you please lead us?
Stand and remove your caps. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. The first item of business is approval of the agenda. Before changes are discussed, are there conflicts of interest to declare? Hearing none. The agenda, are there changes to the agenda?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Graham.
I'd like to move 8.3.1, Resolution Serial 2533, and 8.4.1, AM 2556 to new business.
Are there other changes? Hearing none, is there objection to the motion for the approval of the agenda as amended? Hearing none, the agenda is approved as amended. We are now in special orders of the day. There is one proclamation that I will read. City of Watsilla's proclamation honoring Alaska Day. Whereas October 18th, 1867 marks the date when the United States formally acquired Alaska from Russia, a historic event that expanded the boundaries of our great nation and brought Alaska into the fold as an integral part of the United States. And whereas Alaska's territorial legislature declared Alaska Day a holiday in 1917, and whereas Alaska Day was first celebrated in 1949 with the unveiling of a bronze statue named the Prospector, which still stands as a tribute to Alaska's pioneers. And whereas this important moment in our state's history laid the foundation for Alaska advancement as an official portion of the United States of America, which did not formally occur for another 92 years, with Alaska gaining statehood January 3rd, 1959. And whereas Alaska is a land of immense natural beauty, cultural richness, and historical significance, home to diverse peoples and traditions that have shaped the identity of our state. And whereas Alaska Day is a time to celebrate the resilience, strength, and pioneering spirit of the people of Alaska who have overcome challenges and thrived in one of the most unique and awesome, inspiring places in the world. Now therefore I, Glenda D. Ledford, Mayor for the City of Wasilla, do hereby proclaim October 18th, 2025 as Alaska Day in Wasilla and encourage all residents to join in commemorating this special day, celebrating our shared history and honoring the remarkable spirit of Alaska and its people, dated this 13th day of October, 2025. Okay, we don't have anybody from Wasilla High School. So the director report, Public Works Department. Director Shaw.
Good evening, Eric Shaw, Public Works Director. Happy to be here with you tonight to give you a fall update on what we've been doing in Public Works. This isn't exhaustive, we've got a lot we've been doing, but wanted to give you the highlight on some of the things. We're going to talk about water, sewer, and airport projects tonight. So underwater, one of our biggest projects is the Wasilla Palmer Water Interconnect Project. We are currently in a multi-phased approach to all of that. One of the big highlights has been mapping our whole system, digitizing the as-built drawings for our whole system so that we could not only have an accurate map of where everything is, but we used it to build a water system digital model. And so we have a model that's through a program called KY Pipe. And so what you see in the lower left-hand corner is a screenshot of the data that gives us. So I'm kind of going from the bottom up now, but we were able to use the KY pipe to facilitate a flushing event in the evening of last week, Tuesday, where we partnered with the fire department and used what they call a hose monster, and that's the picture in the upper right. That is a energy disperser, but it allows us to flow the full 5-inch port that's on those fire hydrants. And we did that to do a couple things. We wanted to test the model and see how accurate it is, because as we feed data back into it, it gets more accurate. But we also chose a hydrant over by Idita Park because of its relationship to the bulk water station. And we get pretty regular complaints about brown water, so high iron in the water, and we hate that. We really don't want our customers to fill their water tank up and then have brown water and have frustrated customers. So through the KY pipe modeling, we worked with our consultant HDL engineers to identify where we could close a couple valves and flow water out of that hose monster and get velocities above 3 feet per second. And so that map that I've highlighted, if you look at those blue squares, that is the model saying that we're getting the velocity that we want to see. So we flowed water for over an hour, and it was extremely successful, especially off of the system that is bringing water from all of the downtown streets. It flowed brown water for at least 45 minutes. And to my knowledge, we've never been able to flush with that velocity before and to have a semblance of certainty that we're affecting the system the way we wanted to. We put a Facebook post out to let people know that they could experience brown water while we did it. We chose to do it at 9 p.m. so that we were over the usage hump, and also most of the businesses were closed. So we were very satisfied with what we saw for flushing the brown water out. We didn't get any complaints of causing brown water that night, and it was a great partnership with the fire department. That hose monster really was effective, and the model said that we could expect around I think it was between 12 and 1,400 gallons per minute, and what we saw was over 1,600 gallons per minute. So that's a substantial flow that's very valuable for the fire department to know in case, as they plan for emergencies. And like I said, we flowed for over an hour, and so the second portion of the hour, the last 20 minutes, we changed the valving so that water was coming through the Iditarod tank down the Wasilla Fishhook Road, down Dana, and then down Nelson, and that didn't have any color to it. So that was a really interesting data point. We had long suspected that the downtown core was the primary reason that we're having brown water, and so that flow really helped us to know that. So we probably will not be doing any more flowing this fall because of freezing temperatures, but we're definitely going to be planning more events in the spring and partnering with the fire department in different locations around town to get more data. Back on to projects within the interconnect. So this winter, we will be drilling a well up at the Herman Water Tower location. So we're gonna have that going out to bid here soon. And then we are almost done with the design for the first phase of the Herman Road water line extension. That's part of the design build that's in that interconnect project. And so we'll be purchasing pipe this winter, and the install will start in the spring. And so the background on that is, of course, DOT, the borough, and the city are working on a joint project to rebuild Herman Road, expand its capabilities. We need to get our water line in there before that project starts. That is not going to be too difficult because they're still a few years away before they even acquire right-of-way for that project, but we're going to stay ahead of them and get that infrastructure in. It'll connect at the Herman Road intersection there at the parks, and it'll lead up to that new water tower. The mapping that we've used for the KY pipe model that I described has also proven very helpful for customer coordination when we have developers come in and look at the water connections on different properties. And so it's been very, very useful for providing good customer service and also keeping the customers involved so that they know what the infrastructure costs might be. Moving on to sewer. I didn't get it on this slide, but we're excited to announce that we have one of the first permits that we need for the larger sewer effluent discharge permit. So we needed to get the Army Corps 404 permit, and what that does is it basically is how the federal government says that they are relinquishing waters of the U.S. control for those wetlands. So they are no longer waters of the U.S., they become state-controlled waters. And so now we can go through the 401 permitting process with DEC. So we have, we're in the process of fulfilling the 404 permit, which requires we buy some wetland mitigation credits. We already had an AM come in front of the council a few months back once we knew what those costs were going to be. So we have taken the forecast costs for the Sioux Connect Wetland Mitigation Bank, and we're working on the agreement to purchase those right now. That's in legal review with our city attorneys, and we hope to be able to finalize that in the next few weeks. We are going to be having another public meeting here in the chambers on Wednesday, 10:15. At 6 p.m. And so it's our yearly renewal and communication with the neighbors, and we'll be covering a couple things. We have sent out letters to the neighboring properties about well water testing. That was one of the requests that we've been furnishing with the neighbors. So if they are interested in having their well water tested for the constituent issues like fecal coliform and other noticeable things, they can submit those documents. So we've received a few right now. We're also going to be talking about where we are with that permitting, and we are formalizing relationships with some of the property owners that abut the sewer treatment plant and property acquisition. There had been some initial easements that were purchased that don't quite cover the wetlands that we need. And so we're stepping back and using the same procedure that we've used at the airport to acquire those lowlands so that those homeowners are made whole and we have the control of the wetlands that we need. And then we've also been working on the septic sludge design. And so the picture that you see there is our SCADA control program for dealing with the sludge that our operators pump out of our septic tanks. That's at 65% design, and that includes 2 new digesters and a new control building so that we can increase our capacity because we are woefully underserved right now and having to send a lot of that to Anchorage. And now we'll move on to the airport. So taxiway Kilo is fresh on your minds. We just awarded the contract. So we've been working with Otna Construction, and they have been submitting their paperwork to sign the contract. We expect to have a signed contract very soon as they fulfill those submission requirements. And then that will lead into the pre-construction meeting, which is where they'll tell us their schedule and how they're going to approach it. And then we will probably see a little bit of work this winter, but they'll mostly probably stage for a real hard start in the spring. We're excited to see that begin. There are some new developments just late last week that I wanted to bring to the council's attention. We have looked at the map that talks about property acquisitions. It's a snippet of it is in the upper right-hand corner of the screen. And you can see that there's blue areas, pink areas, and then shaded purple areas. The shaded purple area that's labeled 20 has always been on the radar as probably needing an navigation easement, which stands for, it's an easement that allows us to manage tall things that interfere with the glide slope of the airport as the FAA mandates. We were able to get access to that property this summer with the owner's permission. And so our consultants did a very thorough survey of trees and buildings and power poles and other things that are sticking up into the skyline. And they've identified that there are some significant impediments, both at the runway length of 5,100 and the ultimate length of 6,000 feet. And so what I've included is the picture that shows where property 20 is. And then if you look in the upper left, you see trees that look like they have numbers on the top of them and that red line. That is showing everything that is sticking up too high. And it includes the peak of the existing house. And so if you look at the lower picture, you see the red line off to the lower right-hand corner of that. It's basically the entire property. And so what I wanted to bring to the council's attention is that this has now become one of the critical properties that we need to talk about acquiring. And the concern is that the property owner has a plan to subdivide it into 14 lots. And if any homes or power poles are built, they'll all exceed that maximum height. And so we've sent them a letter. We've already been in discussion because they gave us access, but we sent them a letter saying this is our critical next acquisition. And at this state, it's more than a $2 million property. And we did some quick numbers. If it was to be developed and then purchased, it would be more than 16 million based on the lot sizes and the anticipated home sizes there. So we're very glad that we had put the energy into identifying that. It was a pretty detailed survey. They were taking elevation shots on everything because this would have been a very expensive thing to find out later as we tried to move ahead with the expansion plans. So we'll be continuing to talk about this with the council. We'll be bringing you more information, but I wanted to bring this to your attention so that you see what role it plays with the continued expansion for the airport. Another update, there's a small purple sliver at the top of that aerial map. That's the Marcinex property. We've been talking with them. We have a site visit in a day or two to go look at some stakes that they allowed us to put out so we could show them the easement that we need from them as well. Their house sits up on the bluff, which is outside of the area that we need to address, but we'll be looking at the lowlands, which is below their house. And then you may recall that we bought the Gardner's property, that's lots 2, 3, and 4. They have had several homes that they were interested in. They put some offers in and they hadn't been successful, but we think that they've found one now. And so they need a few more months in their residence, but we're excited that they are probably able to purchase a home that they want. So we'll be able to help them transition out of that. The last thing I wanted to bring up was we had talked a couple of years ago now about rates at the airport, and part of the airport master plan, which will be wrapping up here in the next couple months, is a detailed review of the financial prospects of the airport. And so it is also going to say that it's probably long overdue to raise rates. So I'll be dusting off the proposal that the Airport Advisory Commission put together on raising rates and bringing it to the council for the council to decide where those right rates are. But we look forward to having those discussions now that we've made so much progress with Title 16 and a couple other important code changes. So be on the lookout for that. And the last thing I wanted to bring up was success on the Bumpus Ball Field projects. So the septic systems and the water systems are connected, and the pre-made bathrooms are on the barge right now, so they're headed up this way. We'll be setting them in about 3 weeks right now. And then tonight you will be talking about the request to have the funding to run MEA power out to those. So we will we're not sure if MEA will be able to install the power this fall or if it'll be a spring thing, but we're very excited to have those come online in the spring for all of the events out there. With that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Crafton?
Thank you, Mayor. Eric, since we're still, airport was the closest one, I'll start with that. Going back to lot 20 there, so I don't know if Linda had mentioned it to you, but I had called her after we had a meeting around it and told her to reach out to the city about that one. So I'm really good friends with the owner on that one. And so you're saying it's a potential of a $2 million, over a $2 million purchase. And if she had gone through with her subdividing everything, it would be in excess of $16 million. Is there another way around that with trying to cut back some of these? I mean, looking at this house, I mean, we're talking, it's got to be within feet of how close it is. And then same with the power poles, because I mean, as a property owner, I'm looking at that, and as a real estate agent, I'm going, man, hey, the city's going to come along and buy this for a couple $1 million, but now I'm out the potential millions that I could have done had I developed this appropriately.
Yeah.
So I mean, how do we navigate something like that in a situation? I'm kind of curious if there's another way around that.
When you say another way around, are you talking about geometrically with the FAA?
That,
Or
or
by-
I mean, can we go back and say, hey, is there a way to change the roof line and cut back move the power poles or cut them down or something, so that instead of having to acquire the property as a whole, we're doing the easement, I can't remember the exact name, but basically the easement access.
Yeah, so we're flexible with, we want to have that negotiation with the property owner. We anticipate that the restrictions that would have to be placed on this current property owner with undergrounding all the electrical and maybe amending the roof line and then limiting the height of any new buildings, that may be too much of an impact on their development plan, and so they may request that it's just a purchase outright. And then the city could decide to add those limitations and sell them for single-level homes that meet those maximum height requirements. So that's the discussion that we need to have with the property owners to see how they want to be made whole.
So it's on the table is what you're saying. Basically, the options are more or less endless on how we can figure this out instead of just an outright purchase.
If they're willing,
If
it
they're
really
willing.
comes down to what will make an agreeable plan on both sides.
Okay, good to hear. I'll let some others ask some questions.
Mr. Graham?
Thank you. Thanks, Eric. Good update. So, recently in Palmer, there was a municipal election just like we had here, and there's a pretty significant shift in how they're gonna be thinking over there, politically. And they're already kind of a groundswell that says they don't want this, Wasilla Palmer interconnect over there. Is it, how solid is that agreement that we have with them? Is this gonna happen, or is this something that they might decide they don't wanna do? Where are we at on that? I don't know if you're the right person, or maybe Crystal, or.
We meet with the city manager over there, and we discussed, risks to both our systems. They suffered a water emergency a few weeks ago where they were very, very close to losing half their system. I know that there's concern that there would be ongoing interruptions for this connection. I think the value is the long-term resiliency. So we're showing how it can be done. We're also making incredibly lasting improvements on our side to make it happen. But I think that the value long-term will come out that Palmer realizes it helps them as well. And we know that they have been planning for resiliency as well. They've already expended their portions of the water interconnect funds for the booster station they put on Bogard. So I think in the long term, the relationship will continue.
Okay, good. Yeah, 'cause I hate to see that go a different way after we spent so much time and effort on that. So with the sewer, you talked about the sludge digester increasing capacity. By what percentage is that capacity being increased, and will it get us close to 100%, or at what point will we once again be at 100%?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have seen the layout for how big these digesters are, but I'll have to get back to you on exactly how much it increases it. We had gone through a pretty extensive accounting of the number of our tanks and the number of times we need to pump them. And so they are, I don't want to put a number to it and incorrectly guess on that, but I can get back to you on exactly how much bigger they are. They're substantially bigger, though.
Okay, and will the new sludge digester relieve the city of its need to haul sludge to Anchorage? Obviously, it's not gonna affect the private companies, but will it relieve the city of its need to run to Anchorage for the sludge?
Yes, that's how we approached the sizing, was to look at this total number of tanks that we have and the total number of times we need to pump them, and we backed into how much more space that requires.
Thank you.
Kathy?
Madam Mayor. Eric, thank you for your report. You had mentioned about that there were letters sent to people about testing their wells.
Yes.
Was this for just a certain part of the city, or can you just expound on that a little bit?
Sure. So we basically used the property maps of wherever you touched the wastewater treatment plant, and so we went a quarter mile on both sides of that. So if your property touched a quarter mile, you didn't have to be within a quarter mile, but, you know, so there's quite a ring around them. So we sent out more than 100 letters.
All right, thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Mr. Crafton?
Thank you, Mayor. Mr. Graham brought up a good question about the interconnect project. I know he kind of asked what's how solid of an agreement it is, but I mean, we're wrapping a lot of grant money into this. I mean, what if Palmer just put their foot down and said, no, we don't want to? I mean, from what I would understand, the grant dollars say we have to fulfill this project. I mean, what if we can only take it as far as we can take it, right?
Correct. The grant doesn't require a completion because none of the grants have brought that much money, if that makes sense. So we are continuing to work towards being able to fulfill that. If something ground swelling changed and Palmer decided that we got right up to it and we didn't connect, we're still approaching it where the Wasilla's system is far more resilient. And there isn't the expectation that we're looking at the connection as an emergency opening of a valve. If that's the relationship that they're willing to allow, then we would formalize that MOA. So that's where the borough has joined us in supporting this project, is seeing the value of all of the connections that can happen along that route between us and Palmer. And then the backup of water if Palmer still agrees to it.
And last question, if I could, Madam Mayor.
Okay.
Jumping over to sewer here, you said the septic sludge digester is at 65 design completion. Do we have an estimated cost on what it's going to be to implement that? Is that where
Not
we at
yet.
with that? And that's going to be included once we see all that?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor?
Mr. Graham?
Thank you. So, hopping off topic here, a couple weeks ago, we talked about the railway tunnel, colloquially known as the rape tunnel. And we had asked the attorney for some advice on what it would take to get out of that agreement to maintain the tunnel. Have we heard anything back on that? I was down there the other day, they were working on the light, our guys were down there working on the lights.
Yes.
There was camping equipment on both ends of the tunnel. What have we heard? And
I can update that. Yeah, so what I've done is reached out to the railroad, of course, and DOT, and we have the MOA that was signed in 2003 when the project was complete. That's been passed on to our lawyers. We're waiting for the railroad to explain the relationship for that tunnel. What I understand right now is it sounds like the railroad permitted the DOT for the tunnel, and then it's not clear how much of that permit carried into our MOA. So I have a meeting with the DOT and the railroad next week when they were available to find out how they handle it internally. So we'll know more in the next couple weeks based on what they've put together for their background information, and then we'll run it through our lawyers to figure out, what our ongoing relationship is with that facility.
just as little background, I did some research with the railroad, and the majority of their complaints for trespassing on the ballast, which is the, you know, the gravel that holds the rail up, those are at the depot and not near the tunnel. You know, I mean, the tunnel was put in to allow kids access essentially to the high school, you know, from one, without having to go all the way down, to KGB Road and the parks. But the majority of their trespassing complaints are at the depot and not at the tunnel. So I'm kind of curious how we ended up in a big discussion of the railroad. But anyway, we'll look at that when we go through. So thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. And now we will move on to the library director for an update on the library expansion project.
My name is Zane Treesh. I'm the library director for the Wasilla Public Library. Since September 8th, when I talked last to City Council, I've had initial talks, may have been a little before that meeting, but with Rasmussen Foundation and with Matsu Health Foundation. And what both of them are, both groups are very interested in the project. But before they start committing funds or talking about funds or processing applications and things, they want to see the more design down the line of design for the project. Along with that, I've been working with Eric and with Ted, and we did receive a formal fee proposal from ECI, who was the architect that originally designed the building and also gave us that report that we had asked them for. They gave the report to City Council in July and then the final report in August, just a couple of months ago. And they have the fee proposal that, according to Public Works and to Ted, seems a fair proposal, but we're working on the paperwork for an ordinance to bring to City Council in 2 weeks. So it'll be 2 weeks before that's brought forward with all the information there. They are looking at the 35% schematic design, the 65% design development and construction document, so that at 100%. And their schedule was looking at possibly, if everything falls into place, between financing, the design, which they say they can do on the timeline they're giving me, and the city, and then also breaking ground and actually having this possibly, if we stay on track, opening in the summer of 27 with everything done. So it's a pretty aggressive timeline there, but they think we can get it done through them. I thought I'd update a little bit on just a couple statistics, just kind of how busy we've been. 2 weeks ago, we did 76 new library cards in 1 week. So people are still using the library. The week after that, we still did over 50 new library cards. Our story times are averaging over 50 participants each time. And our study rooms, I was going to mention our study rooms, which are those three study rooms we have in the main part of the library. They're having between 35 and 45 groups use those each week. So we're still a very busy, happening place. Thought I'd also come tonight just beyond those numbers and that update was if anybody had any questions or anything like that. So,
Mr. Graham.
Thank you. Zane, I would like to thank you for coming out to the Wasilla Noon Rotary a couple weeks ago and updating them on what the library expansion plan was. It was very informative, lots of good questions from the people there, and just to remind folks that Zane is happy to get out and talk to people about that project to show how it's going to improve services at the library without adding additional operating costs. So thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Seeing none? Thank you, Zane.
thank you.
We are now at public hearing. Madam Clerk, please read the first ordinance by title.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Ordinance serial number 2530, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget by accepting and appropriating an Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistance Grant in an amount not to exceed $161,940 for the purpose of one multi-jurisdictional drug task force investigator position at the Wasilla Police Department for assignment to the statewide drug enforcement unit.
The public hearing on ordinance serial number 25-30 is now open. Anyone wishing to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Seeing no one, public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 25-30?
Madam Mayor,
Ms. Collins,
I move to adopt ordinance serial number 25-30.
is there a second?
Graham seconds.
It's been moved by Councilmember Cottle and seconded by Councilmember Graham to adopt ordinance serial number 25-30. Is there discussion? Seeing none. Is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. Madam Clerk,
Thank you. Next ordinance for public hearing, ordinance serial number 2531, amending Wasilla Municipal Code 390-040 travel to authorize the direct payment of travel costs and clarify limitations on incurred travel expenses.
public hearing on ordinance serial number 25-31 is now open. Anyone wishing to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Seeing no one, I will close public hearing and bring it back to the dais. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 25-31?
Madam Mayor, I move to adopt ordinance serial number 2531.
Is there a second?
Rubio seconds.
It's been moved by Councilmember Velock and seconded by Councilmember Rubio to adopt ordinance serial number 2531. Is there discussion? Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. This method of reimbursing based on per diem costs, which are set costs and which can be figured out in advance, is much more efficient and a much more fair way to do things, and also cuts down significantly on the amount of paperwork that's required from the employee while traveling and on supervision, in this case being the mayor, and then of course the finance office to do that. So this is a great thing, and we should certainly vote in favor of it.
Is there further discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Crafton?
Thank you, Mayor. I would agree with Mr. Graham there that, again, I think it's a little bit more of a simpler method. Curiosity question here was more so, it was originally set up that only the council, I believe, was the one set up on this method, and basically the rest of the city was not. Was there a reason why, or do we know why at the time that that's the way it was set up, and now here we are changing the method? Do we have any idea of a history as to why?
Mr. Leonard?
Through Madam Mayor to Councilman Crafton, I think for the finance, or for the employees, it has always been that way. And I think that the clerk was more efficient than we were in setting up a per diem methodology for the council, and we are just catching up to where the council is.
One other follow-up question, Madam Mayor.
Mr. Crafton?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't know if this would be an opinion or a fact here. Do you think this is going to help save us dollars when it comes to traveling? Do we generally see it being more cost-effective per se than it would be if we're reimbursing? Because when you think about it, with this, you're paying a flat rate versus paying on reimbursement. If somebody only eats twice a day or once a day, that's all we're reimbursing them for. So it can fluctuate. And technically, I think it, in some cases, averages out to being cheaper on the reimbursement basis. Do we have an idea on what we're expecting?
Through Madam Mayor to Councilmember Crafton, we didn't do a calculation, but again, we believe on the average, because that's what CONUS is calculated on too, that this would be more cost-effective for us. Plus, as Councilmember Graham said, the cost of trying to reimburse meals, it goes through our procurement, our credit card system, and this system would be, we believe, more efficient and actually more as an internal control method to do it this way.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I'm for this.
Okay. Is there further discussion? Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. Madam Clerk.
Madam Mayor, our third public hearing this evening, ordinance serial number 2532, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget to reduce the previous $12 million Federal Aviation Administration Grant Fund appropriation to the actual Federal Aviation Administration Grant Funds award of $7,244,697 for taxiway K and related improvements at the Wasilla Municipal Airport.
The public hearing on ordinance serial number 25-32 is now open. Anyone wishing to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Seeing no one, public hearing is closed. Is there a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 25-32?
Madam Mayor, I
Ms.
move
Cotton.
to adopt ordinance serial number 25-32.
Is there a second?
Madam Mayor, I'll second the motion.
It's been moved by Councilmember Cottle and seconded by Councilmember Crafton to adopt ordinance serial number 25-32. Is there discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Crafton?
Thank you, Mayor. And just, I think this is more of a clarification question. I'm not sure if it'd be Eric or Ted that would answer this. This is really just saying, hey, we're not getting 12 million, we're getting the actual 7.2 and change.
Madam Mayor, to Councilmember Crafton, yes. And also to make sure that those funds aren't out in our accounting system where they could accidentally have something charged against it. So we want to, for transparency purposes and again, internal control purposes, to ensure that we have the proper amount in our budgeting system.
Thank you.
Is there further discussion? Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. Madam Clerk. Is 2534. Okay.
Okay, thank you, Madam Mayor. Last public hearing this evening, ordinance serial number 2534, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget by appropriating $560,000 from the general fund balance to fund consulting support and project management for the implementation of the city's new enterprise resource planning system. With that is AM number 2555, contract award to Coa Hill Consulting, LLC, for $558,170 to assist in implementing Tyler Technologies Enterprise Resource Planning software.
The public hearing on ordinance serial number 25-34 is now open. Anyone wishing to testify, please come forward and begin by stating your first and last name. Comments are limited to 3 minutes per person. Seeing no one, I will close public comment and bring it back to the dais. Is there discussion? Oh, never mind. Okay. Yes. Mr. Leonard?
Can we get a motion?
Okay, first of all, we need a motion, hang on just a minute. We need a motion to adopt ordinance serial number 2534
And the AM.
Madam
and
Mayor,
the AM.
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Crafton,
Thank you, Mayor. I move ordinance serial number 2534, and it's accompanying AM 2555.
is there a second?
Rubio seconds.
It's been moved by Councilmember Crafton and seconded by Councilmember Rubio to adopt ordinance serial number 25-34 and the 2555, the AM. Is there discussion? Now, Mark, you can ask. Mr. Leonard.
Madam Mayor to Councilmember Smith. We have training hours in this, so what we have is in the third party, we have a 1/4 project manager for the HCM, the Human Resource Capital Management and Payroll System, and 1/4 person for finance, the financial systems. And then we have 1,200 hours of actual expertise and assisting the city finance staff and the payroll staff and human resource staff with actually implementing the systems too. So if you add all those hours up, it does match about one full-time person.
Thank you. Is there further discussion? Mr. Graham?
Thank you, and perhaps to help out, Mark, we're not hiring somebody from the city to do this. That's what this $560,000 is for, is to hire a contractor to do this. So we're not adding to the city's payroll, nor are we adding a PERS position. I don't know if that helps you or not.
Yes.
Madam Mayor to Councilman Smith, when they say, well, I guess I could go to 121, but what we're discussing is a third-party contractor that is going to be assisting the city staff. As Councilmember Graham said, that there isn't an internal employee, but we're going to be hiring through Cohills the equivalent of about 2,200 hours, or the equivalent of a one FTE for assisting us through this third-party contract.
Okay. Further discussion? Hearing none, is there an objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is adopted. We are now at persons to be heard, a time for members of the public to share their views with the council. Please note, this is not a question and answer period. Speakers may be referred to administration, and items raised may be taken under advisement. Anyone that wants to speak, please come, begin your testimony. I'm sorry, John Clappery.
Look at me.
I see you. Please begin by stating your first and last name and if you're a city resident. And your comments are limited to 3 minutes.
Thank you. My name is John Klaprich, K-L-A-P-P-E-R-I-C-H. I'd like to congratulate the mayor and this council. I have been advocating for small business for over 45 years, and this administration is one of the most transparent and one of the most accessible that I've ever been part of. So thank you, and congratulations. And you don't just hear, but you listen. Advocating for small business has been something that's been very, very dear and close to me. And part of my testimony has been nurture and care and understand it and all the legislation and all the restrictions you do, because business is the lifeblood. It allows you to do everything else you do. I'm here tonight to encourage the council to unanimously approve the transfer of a beverage dispensary license to the Last Frontier Brewing Company. Seldom does any resolution bring a win-win-win situation in the benefits to the city that this does. It will increase direct sales tax collections for you. It'll increase indirect sales tax. We've been told by tour groups that want just a cocktail with their dinner that they go out of town, Palmer, Big Lake. And I've also been told that they like to have accommodations where their evening meal is, and then additional attractions. So the secondary sales tax. And what's crucial is I'm on the City of Wasilla 2045 comp plan, and survey says in order to be where we want to be in the future, we need more Class A Tier 1 dining and recreation in the downtown core area. And obviously this is in the downtown core area, so it helps that, and it helps the residents of the Wasilla and visitors. And what's really important, we got to understand, there is no expense or cost or parking restrictions on this. The current parking meets the current diagram. The owner has built additional paid parking adjacent, and there's 3 city parking lots within 300 feet. So there's 5 parking lots, so there won't be any on-street congestion. And you're dealing with a 45-year proven businessman in the downtown core area that adheres to all rules and regulations of the city. So there's no parking stress. The city gets sales tax so that we can do all these other sewer projects that aren't glamorous. And you're dealing with a reputable company. So I highly encourage you, and we're still working under the downtown overlay, which I'll see in 2 weeks because we're going to get rid of that. So thank you for endorsing, and encourage you to unanimously approve. Thanks.
Thanks, Sean. Jeannie Trzynski.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. Jeannie Trzynski, President, Friends of Wasilla Library. I live in the greater Wasilla area. On September 22nd, the Friends had their annual meeting, and that day was the 9th anniversary of our moving into that building, which is just incredible that we've been in there 9 years. 3 things I want to share with you from our annual meeting. Each year we recognize a best friend. This year's best friend was Diversified Tires. Dave and Judy Snyder have donated that both of our records can tell for over 15 years, every single year to summer reading. And they do so much to support our community, and they love our library, and they talk about how excited they are for their grandkids to be able to use the library. And so we just really appreciate their very quiet, but very great support of our community. We always also give a friendship award, which recognizes youth support. And this last year, we had a group from Wasilla High School's work study that came every single week during the school year, and they help out in the library, they volunteer. And the staff was so impressed by these kids really looked out for each other, kept each other in check, made sure that they were on task and doing their jobs. And it was really wonderful to be able to recognize them with our friendship award. The Friends also voted that at this time, we are ready to write a $10,000 check for the expansion of the library. And so as soon as, all the things get in place, we are ready to write that check, and we are committed to trying to raise an additional $15,000 this year for the expansion through our fundraising. I want to talk about a project that we've been working on with friends and advocates of the libraries around the valley for the last year. There is this little book of big stories that we found out about from the Idaho library system, and they collected library stories about why people love their libraries, and they put them into this little book. This little book has a really special story. You see how it's bound on this weird small side instead of the big side. This is a format of a book that was used during World War II so that soldiers could have a novel in their backpack. And this is the invention of the paperback. This is where paperback books actually began. And so it has this very special story at the beginning that Idaho has given us permission to use in our book. And we are going to publish, we have about 40 stories so far. We'd like to have a total of 80 stories. We have stories from all over the valley. So if you have a story that you'd like to share, when I come back the second time, I'm going to give you a flyer that tells you how to do that. And help spread the word. If you know somebody that has a great story about their use of the library, we'd love to get their story. I'll be back. Kind of like that Carolyn person. I'll be back.
Thanks, Jeannie. David Wilson, Senator Wilson.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, City Council members. For the record, my name is David Wilson. I am a city resident, and tonight I am here representing my employer, the Mat-Su Health Foundation. Just a few things. First is what first I'll just want to thank our city clerk and staff for running the next elections. I really appreciate all the mailers and the advertisements that went out, and would like to congratulate Councilman Rubio, Councilman Smith, and Councilman Johnson for his return to the council. And also want to give a special thanks for Councilman Velock for her years of dedication to the city. She's always thoughtful and always approachable to talk to, and just want to say thank you for her service. And I know tonight's her last full meeting, and just wanted to recognize you for your time served here on the council. It's not an easy job, but I'm glad someone's doing it. Passed out from the city clerk, and I believe you guys got an email last week from our office, was about our Mat-Su measures. It's our data dashboard. The city council has plenty of time to get this notice, so all of you guys can attend. So we don't have any public open meeting violations, so you guys can all attend, and anyone in the planning department, I believe someone's already registered from the city to attend. But we just want to say this is an opportunity to understand sort of our data dashboard. Mat-Su Health Foundation is really data rich, but we don't want to have our borough be information poor. So we want to show how we collect that data, how we use that data, and give the opportunity for everyone to have access to that data as well. So this is something that can be used for your planning purposes, looking at ordinances, and we're more than just that dashboard. And so come here, we'll give a sort of sneak preview to our CHANA, which is our Community Health Needs Assessment. Every 3 years, since we are a nonprofit hospital, has to do a sort of a Community Health Needs Assessment, and we are finalizing those results as well. So you might get a little sneak preview of some of those results and what that is showing. And we just want to go forth with that. Then also, we would like to say thank you for the mayor and your library director for coming by and having a meeting with our chief executive officer and president of the Health Foundation to talk about the upcoming library project. While we can't confirm dollars because of the amount requested goes for board approval, we have done similar projects across the borough of supports of libraries. And it looks, lots of positive affirmations. I think I can say that has been given toward the project. And lastly, if you guys would like to attend, Mat-Su Sentinel and support of the Health Foundation is putting on a civic connection event this Thursday night at the Palmer Train Depot for Mat-Su candidates. It's Flip the Script, so it's more of a community engagement and involvement, so we look forward to seeing you guys. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. Hunter Kuznick. And if I butchered your last name, I apologize.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I have joined you guys here tonight, council members and Madam Mayor, as a concerned citizen, taking a look at the voter turnout. Hunter Kuznicki, sorry.
And spelling?
Spell your last name.
Oh, Kuznicki.
Thank you.
Thank you. I wanted to reach out to you guys to raise my concerns on the voter turnout. I've spoken with a numerous amount of my friends and people in the community. There's a lot of hardworking individuals here. You guys did a great job with the newsletters and advertising for the election. Unfortunately, I just don't see those numbers coming out. The attendance, there's a mass, just uninformed people that when you're not in the, I guess I'd say the habit of keeping an eye on political events, it's not easy to attain the information as easy. So I wanted to bring a proposition to you guys for holding the election at the same as the national election day in November. I think it would increase the amount of voter turnout we see. I think it would be a benefit for the whole community, and it would bring more engagement to the whole ordeal. But, yeah,
Good job.
Good.
thank you guys. I yield my time.
Okay. All right. We are now on to the consent agenda. Madam Clerk, please read the items for approval under the consent agenda by title.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. We're down to the meeting minutes, regular meeting minutes, September 8th, September 15th, and September 22nd, 2025. No introductions. The resolution and the AM have been moved to new business.
Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda as read?
Madam Mayor, I move the consent agenda as read.
Is there a second?
Madam Mayor, I second.
It's been moved by Councilmember Crafton and seconded by Councilmember Vlock to approve the consent agenda as read. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the consent agenda is approved. We have no unfinished business, and we are at new business. Madam Clerk, please read the resolution by title, please.
Thank you. I'll just pick up the consent agenda if there's no objection. So we'll start with resolution serial number 2533, approving and waiving protest for the relocation and transfer of beverage dispensary license number 1240 to the Last Frontier Brewing Company LLC, doing business as the Last Frontier Brewing Company for operation within the city of Wasilla.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve resolution serial number 25-33?
Madam Mayor, I move resolution serial number 2533.
Is there a second?
Madam Mayor, I'll second the motion.
It's been moved by Councilmember Graham and seconded by Councilmember Schmidt to approve the consent agenda as read. Sorry, not the consent agenda, but the resolution serial number 2533. Is there discussion?
Madam Mayor.
Mr. Graham?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Actually, I just kind of had some questions here. It says that we're approving and waiving protests for the relocation. Isn't our only option under the, the state regulations to protest? So in this case, we're just waiving the protest. There is no approval. We don't have any approval authority over liquor licenses. We just have the ability to object or to protest. Is that correct? Do I misunderstand that?
It's just stupid.
Crystal?
To Councilmember Graham through the mayor. You're exactly right. We can approve or disapprove. So that language that was put in this legislation might have been from previous legislation that's been written. It does come from finance. when
Okay,
we
and
have
even,
these.
even if we approved of the liquor license, that doesn't mean it's being transferred. It's still up to the ABC board, the
It still
Liquor
goes to
Control
their
Board.
board.
All
Correct.
we're saying is that we think it's a good idea to have this liquor license here, and we have no objection, or if we had objections, they would be noted. Is
You
that-
are correct.
Okay, and then the second thing is, Mr. Earnhardt, or city attorney here, perhaps you and Crystal can bring us up to date on exactly how this is gonna affect our ability to bring in additional, what we used to call full pour liquor licenses. Because I know we could bring in one from the borough every 10 years or something. I'm not sure how the things are currently playing out. I know we don't have the population to support the number of liquor licenses, full pour liquor licenses that we want, but I'm not sure what the current regulations are. If there's time, can somebody bring us up to date on that?
Maureen, you want to come up and give us some info, because you're our,
She's our expert.
she's our lady.
But you are right, we get three per every 10 years.
And it's just not the city.
Okay, sorry about that. Mr. Graham, through the mayor. I missed the
State your name.
Oh, Maureen Graham, sales tax auditor and guru, I guess, for this information. So, Mr. Graham, the state statute requires that approvals be done for relocations, not normal transfers or renewals. Those are just protests. But for this particular, from the borough into the city, it requires approval by state statute. Okay, and I missed the second part of your question, so sorry about that.
The second part is, we talked about transferring licenses in, so we bring this one license in. That's one of our 3 within 10 years. When did the 10 years start? Is this the only one that's been transferred in that 10-year period? Does the 10-year period restart when this comes in? Just a little bit of
Yeah.
education,
It does,
please.
it restarts, I think, on the 00 year. It's definitely in the staff report on the exact year, but I believe it's 00. So that would be another 5 years. We would be able to, if we use up all of our 3, then it would start over and we would get 3 more. Now, that's 3 in the borough, not to the city specifically, but 3 are allowed per borough transfer into any city. So we have 1 already. This will be the second one. We did one a little bit ago, but it didn't go through. So this is the second one. And there'll be 1 more, whether that comes to the city or some other city.
You're doing
Until
a
the
great
years.
job. Could you speak just a little closer to the mic for those listening?
Sorry.
Thanks.
So we're where we are.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, I know it's a sticky subject. I know the mayor and I have been fighting this for at least 10 years that I can think of. Well, not fighting it, but trying to amend it where the city has control over its resources there. But still, it would be nice to, I think, for all of us to understand exactly how it works. Is we can tilt at windmills all we want, but it's easier
Right.
to work with the system and get it changed. So thank you, Maureen.
Yep.
By the way, no relation.
What Crystal and I think everybody was talking to or referring to was the borough made some changes as well. It used to be 1 per city, and they made some changes the last year ago, I think. Now they allow all 3 to come to 1 city, where before it was just 1. So we still have some leeway to have another one if another one comes through, but right now we're at 2, if you approve it.
And does the borough have a first come, first serve policy on that? So if somebody in Houston wants one and somebody in Wasilla wants one, but they filed the day before, then they would theoretically have priority?
There's a whole process with the borough that involves a lot more than just this, but they won't go forward until we approve it. So a person will go in and apply. I don't know if it's first come, first serve or how that works, but they cannot process it until we approve it. So this is the first step, then it goes to them, they can approve it or not. And then once they get both city and borough buy off, then it goes back to the state board.
Thank you, Madam Mayor.
Is there further discussion? Maureen, thank you. Hearing none, is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion passes. Madam Clerk, the AM.
Thank you. AM number 2556, approving a utility service agreement to Matanuska Electric Association in the amount of $115,780 for utility extensions related to restroom facilities, construction at Bumpus Recreation Area.
Is there a motion to approve AM number 2556?
Madam Mayor, I move AM 2556.
Is there a second?
Rubio seconds.
It's been moved by Councilmember Graham and seconded by Councilmember Rubio to approve AM number 2556. Is there discussion? Mr. Graham, you moved it.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a quick question for Mr. Leonard here. This is CIP funds, capital improvement funds. Was this number part of the entire CIP project that we approved for Bumpus, or is this in addition to what we had approved for talking about the adding the vaults for septic?
Through Madam Mayor to Councilmember Graham, this is part of the full project that was approved by the council in last year's.
Right. Okay, I just wanted to make sure because it doesn't break down that it was part of that approved number. Thank you, sir.
Is there further discussion?
Madam Mayor,
Ms. Rubio?
I'm not sure who the question goes to, but where we're relocating and getting the funds from, I think park restroom upgrades, that was from 2 years ago. That was not in this last budget.
Yeah, so, as Mr. Leonard said,
Forces with it.
does this one work better? As Mr. Leonard said, this is we're using some older monies to round out that expense and making sure that we complete this project using the park funds.
Ms. Rubio?
Madam Mayor, thank you. On a side note, question I think goes to Director Eric Shaw. Is there a reason why we need lights in the bathroom? Electricity to it?
Well, that's an excellent question. We have shoulder season where we have activities that lights are usually required, so that's what the reason is that they're useful for the shoulder seasons as well.
If I may.
Mr.
Madam Mayor,
Graham?
in some of the vaults that we have, the septic vaults where we didn't have lighting, we just had the overhead fiberglass panels. We got complaints primarily from mothers that during dark days it was pretty dark inside there. So several years ago we went to lighting in all of them. So just as a history back.
Madam Mayor?
Ms. Rubio?
I would love to see just another alternative to, this is a great one, but another option on the table if we could. I don't even know, like I said, the skylights are a great option, maybe a solar panel. This cost, it's just an estimate, so therefore it could go up or down. I don't remember recalling when we did this project that we were gonna have to run electricity to it. I'm not sure if anybody else was, so I just think a total breakdown of the whole project. I understand the numbers, but I just think another option for the lighting, or as I say, the electricity.
Okay, is that an amendment to the motion?
To the chair. Through the chair, if I may, Madam Mayor, I
Yes.
apologize. If really the only option at this point in time would just be to maybe postpone it for information, for further information. So postpone the AM, the award until the next regular meeting. And then under Robert's Rules of Order, if at the next regular meeting, because we do have tight deadlines, if the information wasn't available, then at, our next meeting, we could postpone it to the next meeting and so on. So, it wouldn't be an amendment. I don't know what the amendment would be.
Madam Mayor, can I ask one question?
Yes.
To Director Eric, we're not running this, MEA is not doing this fall. We're doing it in the spring. So is this gonna hold up if I postpone it?
I'm thinking of the installation process. We were not going to need to wait for MEA to install them when they arrive in a few weeks. So if the council wanted to postpone, it will not hold up the installation of the structures that are on the barge now.
Okay, thank you.
Is that a motion?
That is a motion to postpone
Postpone.
till our
Okay.
next regular meeting.
Is there a second?
Madam Mayor, a second.
The motion's been made by Councilmember Rubio and seconded by Councilmember Cottle to postpone. Is there objection to the motion?
Graham objects.
Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Thank you. This is on the postponement of AM number 2556 to our next regular meeting. Councilmember Cottle.
Yes.
Councilmember Graham.
No.
Councilmember Schmidt. Councilmember Crafton.
Yes.
Councilmember Bealock.
No.
Councilmember Rubio.
Yes,
Madam Mayor, the motion to postpone passes with council members Cottle, Schmidt, Crafton, and Rubio in support. Council members Graham and Bealock opposed. Councilmember Rubio, our Director Shaw, are you guys clear on what you want? Okay, thank you.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please read resolution serial number 2534.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Certifying the results of the October 7th, 2025 regular election.
Okay. Is there a motion?
Madam Mayor,
Mr. Crafton,
I move resolution serial number 2534.
is there a second? It has been moved by Councilmember Crafton, seconded by Councilmember Schmidt to certify the results of the October 7th, 2025 regular election. Is there objection to the motion? Hearing none, the motion is approved. We are at communications. Madam Clerk, please read the items by title.
Thank you. We have a Parks and Rec Commission meeting minutes, September 17th, 2025, and 2 sets of Planning Commission meeting minutes, July 22nd and August 26th, 2025.
Okay. We are at audience comments, 3 minutes per person, which is a time for members of the public to share their views with the council. This is not a question and answer period or a time for dialogue. Speakers may be referred to administration, or issues raised may be taken under advisement by the council or administration. Hey, Jeannie.
Hey, I just thought I'd move right up here. This meeting's going so fast, I want to help keep it moving. Jeannie Trushinsky, President, Friends of Westella Library. I got a few more things to talk about. We've been doing these art classes with seniors 55 and older, and we're on our 4th class. And the first class was funded by the Matsu Hal Foundation, and these classes have been funded by Rasmussen through the Alaska Council on Arts. And so we're on charcoal drawing right now. We have 25 artists in 2 sessions. And we got a second grant from the Matsu Hal Foundation to pay for the second session because we've had so many people requesting access to these classes. People complain a lot that it's really hard, but they really love it. And we're learning to draw, and it is amazing. We are going to do a reception, culminating event on November 5th, 2:30 to 3:30 at the library. And I really invite you to come and talk to the artists and see the work. It's incredible. I have 3 other libraries in the valley that really want to get involved in doing this, and we too would like to continue to work on these projects because, like I said, we have so much demand. I mean, it was so weird. Last week, 2 different people walked into the class, one after another, and said, "Jeannie, what's the next class?" And I'm like, "Oh, I got to live through this class." It's a lot of work to get everything set up, but it's really exciting. Palmer, Sutton, and Willow also are really interested in offering this program to their seniors. So this past week we had Lily Tazroiluk, who is the Alaska Reads author for 2 years in the state of Alaska. We're encouraging everybody to read her book. This is her debut book. It's Civilik, and it's about some whalers that come through Alaska, and they kidnap some native children, for lack of a better explanation, but anyway, it's a fiction story, but she did a lot of research, and it's very, very interesting, and the tea was wonderful. We had folks that came out from Anchorage because it's a joint project of the Alaska Council, the Alaska Center for the Book, 49 writers, the Matsu Health Foundation, and the Friends of Wasilla Library. We had a whole little book club that came that had already read the book and loved it, and it's going to be our book club book for the Firelight book for November 3rd. So I encourage you to check it out. Marianne Elliott, who is also a local author, is going to be here on November 6th at the library and talk about her book, and I have a flyer in here about that. And we're doing again this year our Christmas tree stroll, December 16th to the 19th, and I have some information in the packet about that. And you're always welcome to contact me if you have more questions, because my 7 seconds are up. Thank you.
Is there anyone else? Please begin your testimony by stating your first and last name.
Good evening, Council. My name is Rory Grant. I have a couple pieces of paper that I'd like to reference, if that's possible. I have like a packet, it's got a map. Is that possible? All right. I'm missing a couple copies, but it'll make a little bit more sense.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council. I just want to reintroduce something I've been kind of dealing with. It has to do, I live off of the end of Peck Street, and several years ago, it was brought up to the attention of the Parks and Rec Committee about how to move forward. And they came away with recommending against development due to significant concerns. Long story short, there's an easement there that has access to Wasilla Lake. Lake Lucille has a public boat launch. Wasilla Lake does not. And access is becoming very limited. The Cottonwood Creek Trail, I've used several times, and if you haven't, it's pretty cool. You can kind of travel your way through the waterways to Finger Lake. It's nice. I've been having troubles with the landowner down there, and on the maps that you can see a satellite imagery of how much their land has grown. They do not reside in Wasilla City, but yet they domicile in Wasilla City land. The problem here is we just need some designation of what to do with city land. And just like in Anchorage, where city land is not occupied by the city, it becomes occupied by people the city does not approve to be occupied by, i.e. homeless people, etc. This group has planted trees, gained a huge parking lot, and so on and so forth because of the city's inability or non-desire to do anything with it. I think that this land should be brought into the fold of public land. Fred Myers, as you know, is the largest lakefront landowner in the city of Wasilla. Welcome, excellent, that seems cool, not. We should definitely fight stuff like that. This is 23 yards. I'm not asking for the world, but 23 yards is not much. And yeah, I thought tonight was the planning commission, so I apologize.
Tomorrow night.
Right, so I'll be going to that one. In ending, I brought this up to Parks and Rec, and within 5 seconds, it's in the meeting, it's in the minutes, but within minutes they said, I'm all in. So just a topic, I would like access down there, and I don't want to have to fight the neighbor. She doesn't even live in Wasilla, so thank you.
Is there anyone else? Seeing no one, we will close public comment and bring it back to the dais. Madam Clerk.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So next regular meeting, October 27th, we'll have our swearing-in ceremony, and we'll have just some treats to celebrate our outgoing council members and our incoming council members. And so at that meeting, Councilmember Schmidt will be assuming Councilmember Vilak's seat at the dais for the 3-year term. And Councilmember Vilak, I just want to sincerely thank you. It has been truly a pleasure working with you. I'm not going to have this opportunity at the next meeting. You've been supportive. You do your homework. Anytime I've needed you, you've been there. You've just been an absolute pleasure to work with, and I will miss you, and I thank you for your service. And that's all I have, Madam Mayor.
Attorney Earnhardt.
Another report, Madam Mayor.
Councilmember Vilak.
Well, thank you, Madam Mayor. And yep, this is my last official meeting. As you all know, I'm terming out. It's been an eventful 6 years. We've had 2 mayors, numerous council members. We made it through the COVID pandemic, allocating the federal COVID funds, and yeah, there's just been lots of fun. And we became debt-free during that 6 years. So it has been a great time. And it has been an honor serving our community. I know Councilmember Schmidt's going to do a great job, and you never know, you might see me. I'll be watching you through streaming. There we go. Thank you.
Councilmember Cottle.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I also want to thank Councilmember Vilak for her work and dedication in this council all these years. You set a great example for incoming council members, and I also want to congratulate council members Rubio, Graham, and Schmidt, sorry. It's been a long day already. That taking a sister to the airport 4 a.m. has set me off. Councilman Johnson and Schmidt and Rubio, I look forward to working with all of you the next 3 years, and I hope everybody has a good evening.
Councilmember Rubio.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to say to Nikki, for sure, I'm going to jump on that bandwagon because I can. You're on our team. Just want to thank you for your service and your dedication. It's been awesome and a pleasure to work with you. Congratulations to Schmidt and Johnson. Welcome back to the team. And that is it.
Okay. Councilmember Graham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Also want to add my appreciation for Nikki, or Councilperson Vilak's, time on the council. I can remember taking you down to get you signed up the first time, and you weren't quite sure that was the right thing to do. But Bert Cottle, had a good discussion with you about how you could be effective, and you have been very effective here in the council. Asked a lot of great questions. Brought some things to a halt that didn't need to move forward, and when we needed more information, you made sure that we got that. So thank you for your service, and look forward to continuing to hear from you, because I know you and your family are dedicated Wasillans, and we're not going to slip anything by you, that's for sure. Also wanted to thank Jeannie for everything that happens at the library. There's just a ton of stuff going on at the library, and one of the neat things happening is the book sale. Where books and excess copies of books are sold off pretty much for cheap, and for $5 you can get a whole bag of books, and that bag could be the size of a brailer if you wanted it to, because we've got all kinds of books out there that you could take advantage of. So bring a bag, and if you don't, the Friends of the Library has a bag there, but stop by. There's some really great books there, and even if you're just going to read them once and then give them to Goodwill or do whatever with them, come by and check out those books, because it's important that we keep things moving along. We don't have a whole lot of space to store excess books, and so make sure you get take a good look at that. And the library is just continuing to grow and leaps and bounds, so really makes a big difference there. Also want to remind people that this Thursday, the governor of the state of Alaska has ordered that United States and the state of Alaska flags be flown at half-staff in honor of former Senator Judy Salo, who passed away. She served in the House and the Senate from '89 to '96, representing the Kenai Peninsula. So if you have a flag at your home or your business, please fly that flag at half-staff just on Thursday, sunrise to sunset. So show a little respect and honor for someone who poured their time into the state government, and also was active in local government in the peninsula there. And then the one thing that I'm allowed to say apparently is my favorite day, or one of my favorite days of the year is coming up. I have two favorite days, and they're both DEA National Drug Take Back Day, where Fred Meyer donates a part of their parking lot, where you can take unused medications. They can be prescription medications, they can be Tylenol, they can be whatever you want out of your house. Take it to the parking lot at Fred Meyer's. Don't just dump it in the parking lot. There'll be a tent there where you can stop by and drop these medications off. They don't care. There will be a uniformed police officer there just for security for the drugs. They don't care what you turn in. You can turn in 100 pounds of fentanyl. It doesn't matter. Nobody's looking at what you're doing. You just drop it in the bucket there, and it will be destroyed. So, 85% of users of opioids report that their first contact with opioids happened in the family home. Okay, so those drugs that you had left over from your knee operation or your shoulder operation, or maybe you were doing hospice for a parent or something like that, you have medications left over in your house. Get rid of them, guys. Get rid of them. And if you're not able to make it to Drug Take Back Day, you can go to any pharmacy and they'll give you these little drug destruction bags where you put the pills in there, you add some water, and the pills become inert. And Senator Wilson is very familiar with that, so if you'd like to talk to him about that, you can do that. But take advantage of Drug Take Back Day. Let your neighbors know, let your parents know, let everybody know. Let's get rid of this stuff that's poisoning our community, because it is indeed poison. And of course, it's always important to put some frosting on the cake. So Mr. Earnhardt, that is one hell of a tie. By God, that's amazing. Thank you so much for wearing that tonight. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Schmidt. Okay, thank you. Councilmember Crafton.
Thank you, Mayor. It's always the worst when you go last on this one, because again, I got to jump on the bandwagon. Everything's kind of been said, but at least I got to sit next to you these last few months here. You were always across the table the two times we've been moved around here, so it's nice to get to chat and have you sitting here, and wish you the best of luck. I know it's a bittersweet moment, but you've served the community well, so thank you for that. Wanted to actually throw an interesting thought in about the voter turnout thing. The clerk and I talked about this here in the past. When you go look back in city history, I want to say we've got 40 years of city history of voter turnout. I mean, we've got all the results online. This year might have been a little low, but it's not as low as people think it is. City voter turnout is typically only 300 or 400 votes. If you go back and look at history, there's only been one or two times that the voter turnout was significant. I mean, and we're talking 1,000 votes, I think, was the highest I saw in history at one point. So you'd be surprised. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I'm just saying it would actually surprise me. I thought voter turnout would be a lot higher, but once you actually look at history, history tends to repeat itself in this situation here. So, Mr. Graham, find it interesting that your favorite day is Drug Take Back Day, but I appreciate the information. I mean, it is good, but what was the date? I don't think you actually said it.
Oh, my apologies. That is Saturday, October 25th, so next Saturday from 10 to 2 at Wasilla Fred Meyer, also available at Palmer Fred Meyer. So.
Thank you for that, Mr. Graham. Otherwise, it was a really good meeting. I know it's a little odd that we're out here at 7:30, but I appreciate everybody here for staying in, and we'll see you guys next time.
Okay. Thank you. Congratulations to Ms. Rubio, to Mr. Schmidt, and to Tim Johnson. Look forward to serving with you guys. And Nikki, thank you so much for everything you've done for our community. Because a lot, not only at this dais, but through MTA, you have contributed a whole lot to this community. from everything that you've done. So I truly appreciate your service, and I know I'll see you. So, tomorrow is Wear Red Day in honor of Charlie Kirk. If you want to, that's everybody's prerogative. So, I guess that's it. Thank you guys for your time. Appreciate all you guys sitting at that table, because it takes every one of them to make me look good. We will adjourn at 7:35.